Hi everyone. I'm sitting in my apartment on Chinese New Year's Eve, staring at 6 missed calls from my father. The voicemails are all the same. Marcus needs to talk to you. Your brother has an amazing opportunity. Family comes first, Sarah. You know how some families have a golden child? Well, my brother Marcus might as well have a literal gold star tattooed on his forehead. Sarah, why can't you be more like your brother? He just pitched his startup to another investor. My father's voice from last week's family dinner still echoed in my head. Yeah, the same investor meeting I researched and prepared notes for, but whatever. Maybe because I'm busy actually working while Marcus gambles away his allowance, I had muttered under my breath that night. But of course, no one heard me. They never do. Ever since my grandfather passed away 3 years ago, leaving me a $50,000 inheritance specifically for pursuing my dreams, it's like I became a placeholder in this family. I graduated summa cum laude from Berkeley with a degree in marketing. Marcus dropped out of San Jose State after 2 semesters. Guess who got the Tesla Model 3 as a college gift? Spoiler alert, it wasn't me. Sweetheart, Marcus needs to maintain his image in the startup community, my father had said when I questioned why my brother needed a $60,000 car. You understand, right? You're practical. You have that reliable Honda. Practical. That's code for we don't invest in you because you're already handling everything on your own. But the final straw came 6 weeks ago. I'd been having symptoms for months. Fatigue, weight fluctuations, brain fog. My doctor ordered tests and called me back personally. Sarah, you have a thyroid nodule. We need to do a biopsy, possibly surgery. The procedure itself, even with insurance, there's a gap of about $47,800. I sat in that sterile office, hands shaking, thinking about the inheritance Grandpa left me. The one my father controlled as trustee until I turned 30. I was 28. I called Dad that evening. We need to talk about accessing part of the inheritance. I have a medical situation. What kind of situation? He asked, distracted. I could hear Marcus laughing in the background. I need surgery. Thyroid issues. It's kind of urgent. How urgent? The doctor wants to schedule it within the next month. There was a pause. We'll discuss it at my birthday dinner this weekend. Don't mention this to your mother yet. She worries. That Saturday, I drove to my parents' house in Palo Alto for my father's 60th birthday celebration. The house was decorated with red lanterns and gold streamers. My mother had spent days preparing a feast. I wore a simple black dress and brought a cake from the bakery where I occasionally picked up shifts on weekends, a secret I kept from my family. Sarah, you look tired, my mother said when I arrived. Are you eating enough? I'm fine, Mom. Marcus swept in 20 minutes late, wearing a designer suit I knew cost at least $3,000. He hugged our father like they were old fraternity brothers. Dad, I have incredible news. My father beamed. Tell us at dinner. We gathered around the table. I barely touched my food, my stomach churning with anxiety about bringing up the surgery. That's when Marcus stood up, champagne glass in hand. I want to thank Dad for everything. And I have an announcement. I've been working on a revolutionary app that uses AI to predict stock market trends. I just need seed funding to launch. My father nodded enthusiastically. How much? $50,000 to start. But Dad, I know that's a lot. My heart stopped. Actually, my father said, standing up and pulling out an envelope. I've been thinking about this. Your grandfather left money for the family's future. Marcus, you represent that future. I'm giving you Sarah's inheritance to fund your startup. Consider it my birthday gift to both of us. The room spun. What? Marcus looked at me, and I swear I saw a smirk. Wow, Dad. I don't know what to say. Wait, I managed to choke out. That's my inheritance. Grandpa left it specifically for me. For your dreams, my father corrected. Marcus's dream benefits the whole family. A successful tech startup puts the Chen name on the map. I need that money, I said, my voice rising. I told you, I need surgery. You have insurance, don't you? There's a gap. Almost $48,000. My father waved his hand dismissively. You're young and healthy. This can wait. Marcus's window of opportunity won't. Don't be selfish on my birthday, Sarah. Selfish. The word hit me like a slap. I stood up, grabbing my purse. Congratulations, Marcus. I hope your startup works out. Don't be dramatic, my mother said quietly. I'm not. I'm being practical, remember? I drove home in tears, my hands gripping the steering wheel so hard my knuckles turned white. That night, I made a decision. If my family thought I was just the practical, boring daughter, fine. They had no idea what I was capable of. I opened my laptop and looked at the Instagram account I'd been secretly building for 6 months. Sarah Bakes. 3,000 followers. I'd been posting photos of the pastries I made in my tiny apartment kitchen, working late into the night after my corporate marketing job. Macarons, croissants, custom cakes. People loved them. I also opened the folder labeled medical bills and started documenting everything. The inheritance paperwork. The text messages with my father. The doctor's recommendations. And then I started digging into Marcus's so-called startup. It took me less than 2 hours to find what I was looking for. My brother's Instagram showed him at Bay 101 Casino. His Venmo transactions were public, showing payments to CardShark88 and PokerPro 925. The startup was a lie. Marcus was gambling. Over the next week, I postponed my surgery. My doctor wasn't happy, but what choice did I have? Every night after work, I baked. I photographed. I posted. My follower count grew. 4,000. 5,000. I started taking custom orders, delivering on weekends. Then I got a DM that changed everything. Hi Sarah, I'm Elena Rodriguez, food editor at the San Francisco Chronicle. We're doing a feature on Bay Area home bakers who should have their own shops. Would you be interested in being interviewed? My heart nearly stopped. Yes. Absolutely yes. 2 weeks later, I met Elena at a coffee shop in the Mission. I brought samples of my work. She tried my matcha cream puffs and literally closed her eyes in appreciation. These are extraordinary, she said. Why aren't you doing this full-time? I have a corporate job. Marketing analytics. But this is clearly your passion. I shrugged. My family doesn't really see cooking as a real career. She raised an eyebrow. What do they see as real? My brother's fake tech startup, apparently. I didn't mean to say it. But once I started, the whole story poured out. The inheritance. The surgery. The favoritism. Elena listened, taking notes. This is a story, she said finally. Not just about food, but about family and following your dreams against impossible odds. Would you let me write about this? I hesitated. My family would hate it. Is that a reason to say no? I thought about my father's words. Practical. Selfish. I thought about Marcus gambling away my inheritance while I worked 2 jobs and dealt with a medical condition alone. No, I said. It's not. The article ran 3 weeks later. Bay Area baker rises from family betrayal to culinary success. Elena didn't use my family's names, but she told the story. The inheritance stolen for a brother's gambling problem disguised as a business venture. The surgery I couldn't afford. The secret baking business built 1 order at a time. My phone exploded. DMs, emails, orders. People wanted to support me. They wanted to hire me for events, weddings, corporate parties. I made more money in 3 days than I made in a month at my marketing job. And then came the email from James Liu, owner of 3 successful restaurants in San Francisco. Sarah, I read about your story and tried your pastries at a friend's wedding last month. I've been looking for a partner to open a bakery cafe concept in Hayes Valley. Would you be interested in discussing a partnership? I'm thinking a $200,000 investment to start, with profit sharing and full creative control for you. I read the email 5 times to make sure it was real. That same day, Marcus called me for the first time in weeks. Hey sis, have you talked to Dad? No. Why? There's an issue with the business. Our family had a small import-export business that my father ran, mostly selling kitchenware and home goods to restaurants. It had been struggling for years, but my father refused to modernize. What kind of issue? Some accounting irregularities. The tax people are asking questions. My stomach dropped. What did you do, Marcus? Nothing. It's just, sometimes money gets moved around. Dad covered some of my expenses through the business. Totally normal. Business expenses for what? My living costs. Networking dinners. That kind of thing. Your gambling debts, you mean. Sarah, come on. I hung up. That night, I quit my corporate job. I met with James Liu and signed the partnership agreement. I scheduled my surgery for the following month, paying for it with my first week's earnings from catering orders. And I started documenting everything I found about Marcus and my father's financial schemes. Turns out, Marcus hadn't just used my inheritance for gambling. He'd been siphoning money from the family business for 2 years, small amounts at first. 1,000 here, 1,500 there, but it added up to over $70,000. And my father had been covering it up, manipulating the books, blaming market conditions. The pattern was clear in the expense reports. Business dinners that were actually casino nights. Travel expenses to Las Vegas billed as trade shows. Consulting fees paid to shell companies that Marcus controlled. I didn't report them. Not yet. I just watched and built my own future. 2 months later, I stood in my new bakery cafe on Hayes Street. Sage and Sugar opened on a Saturday morning with a line out the door. The Chronicle ran another article, this time with photos of my space. Bright, airy, filled with the smell of fresh croissants and coffee. I'd named it after my grandmother's favorite herbs and my passion. My mother came to the opening. She didn't tell my father. "This is beautiful," she said quietly, looking around. "Your grandfather would be so proud." I hugged her. I wish I could have done this with his money, like he intended. She reached into her purse and pulled out an envelope. "I've been saving this. It's not much, but it's from my own account. $10,000. For your surgery bills." I started crying. "Mom, you don't have to do this." "Yes, I do. I should have said something at your father's birthday." I was a coward. We stood there in my bakery holding each other, while my new business partner took photos for social media. That night, my father called. "We need to talk. It's about the business." "I'm busy." "Sarah, this is serious. We're being audited. They found irregularities." "I know. I saw the expense reports from last year." There was a long silence. "How did you see those?" "I still have access to the shared drive. You never removed me after I stopped helping with bookkeeping. That's private business information." "Is it private when it includes my stolen inheritance funding Marcus's gambling problem?" His voice hardened. "What do you want?" "I don't want anything. I just wanted you to know that I know. The IRS contacted us. We might need to borrow money to cover the penalties." I sat back in my apartment, looking at my bank statement. My bakery had made $43,000 in its first month. I had investors interested in franchising. I had a future. "You told me to be practical," I said. "So here's something practical. You chose Marcus. You chose his lies over my truth. You stole my inheritance and called me selfish when I needed surgery. So now you get to live with those choices. We're your family." Family doesn't make their daughter postpone cancer screenings because they gave her medical money to their son's bookie. It wasn't cancer. "But we didn't know that until after the surgery you made me delay, did we?" Silence. "Marcus needs help," my father said finally, his voice smaller. "He has a gambling problem. He needs treatment." "Then get him treatment. I hear there are programs for that." "We can't afford it. The business penalties are wiping us out." I took a deep breath. "Let me be very clear. You made a choice 6 months ago at your birthday dinner. You chose Marcus's fake dreams over my real needs. You called me selfish for needing surgery. So now, when you need help, remember how that felt. Remember what you said to me." "Sarah, please. What did Grandpa's note say when he left me? That inheritance." I had it memorized. "For my Sarah, to pursue the dreams I know you have. Not for Marcus. Not for the family business. For me. And you took it anyway. We made a mistake." "No, you made a choice. And choices have consequences." I hung up. 3 weeks later, Marcus checked into a treatment program. My mother paid for it with money from her sister. My father had to sell the family business to cover the IRS penalties and Marcus's debts. They downsized from their house in Palo Alto to a condo in Fremont. My bakery opened its second location in Oakland. James and I were in talks for a third spot in Berkeley. I'd been featured in Bon Appetit and Food and Wine. Sarah Chen, rising star of Bay Area pastry. My Instagram had 60,000 followers. And my thyroid? Clean biopsy. Benign nodule completely removed. I had a small scar on my neck that I wore like a badge of honor. My mother visited my Oakland location on opening day. Your father wants to see you, she said. Does he? He's struggling, Sarah. He lost everything. I arranged fresh croissants in the display case. He didn't lose everything. He lost money. Those are different things. He's your father. And I'm his daughter. The one he called selfish. The one whose medical emergency wasn't important enough. She nodded slowly. You're right. I just wanted you to know, he asked. 2 months later, my father showed up at my original Hayes Valley location. He looked older, tired. He stood in line like any other customer and ordered a coffee and an almond croissant. When he got to the counter, we looked at each other. This place is incredible, he said quietly. Thank you. I was wrong. About everything. I didn't say anything. Marcus is doing better. He's been sober from gambling for 90 days. He got a job. A real job. In customer service. That's good. I owe you an apology. More than an apology. I poured his coffee carefully. You know what Grandpa told me before he died? He said, Sarah, the world will try to make you small. Your job is to prove them wrong. He knew. He knew exactly what kind of family he was leaving me in. That's why he left me that money. Not for Marcus. For me. I failed you. I failed your grandfather. Yes, you did. Is there any way I can make this right? I slid his coffee across the counter. You can start by paying for your order like everyone else. He pulled out his wallet and handed me a $10 bill. I gave him change. And then you can live with knowing that I succeeded anyway. Not because of you. In spite of you. He picked up his coffee and croissant and sat down in the corner. He stayed for an hour, watching me work, watching customers rave about my pastries, watching the life I built without his help or his money. When he left, there was a note on his table. I'm proud of you. I'm sorry I couldn't say it when it mattered. I threw the note away. That night, I posted on Instagram. A photo of my 2 locations, my team, my creations. The caption read, 3 years ago, I was told to be practical, to stop being selfish, to put aside my dreams for someone else's fantasy. Today, I run 2 successful bakeries. I employed 23 people. I paid for my own surgery. I built this with my own hands, my own recipes, and my own determination. To anyone being told their dreams don't matter, I see you. Keep baking, keep building, keep proving them wrong. The post went viral, 40,000 likes, hundreds of comments from people sharing their own stories of family betrayal and triumph. Messages from people wanting to work for me, invest in me, learn from me. And one comment from Marcus, I'm sorry, you deserved better. I'm trying to be better. I didn't respond. Some bridges burn for a reason. 6 months later, Sage and Sugar had 4 locations. I'd written a cookbook deal with a major publisher. I'd been invited to compete on a Netflix baking show, and I'd started a scholarship fund for young people pursuing culinary dreams against their families' wishes. The Sarah Chen Fund for Practical Dreamers. Funded entirely by my bakery's profits. My mother remained in my life. She worked part-time at my Oakland location, in the front of house. She'd left my father. Not divorced, but separated, living her own life for the first time in 40 years. Marcus sent me a card on my 30th birthday. Just wanted you to know I'm 1 year sober from gambling. I have a studio apartment and a steady job. I'm not asking for anything. Just wanted you to know I'm trying. I'm sorry for everything. I kept the card. My father sent nothing. On the anniversary of his 60th birthday, the day he gave away my inheritance, I opened my 5th location. In Palo Alto, 3 blocks from their old house. The irony wasn't lost on anyone. The question I get asked most often in interviews is always the same. Do you regret how things happened with your family? Would you do anything differently? And my answer is always honest. I regret that it took a medical crisis for me to realize I didn't need their approval. I regret the time I wasted trying to be what they wanted instead of who I was. But I don't regret building this life. I don't regret proving them wrong. Because here's what I learned. The people who call you selfish for having needs are usually the ones who expect you to sacrifice everything for their wants. The people who call you impractical are usually afraid you'll succeed. And the people who steal your dreams are usually the ones with none of their own. So to anyone out there being called selfish, being called impractical, being told to wait your turn while someone else gets everything, I have one question for you. What are you going to bake with your anger? What empire are you going to build with your pain? What dreams are you going to chase while they're busy underestimating you? Because I promise you, success tastes sweeter than any revenge. And living well is the best proof that you were right all along. That's my story. What's yours?